Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 11, episode 4, and today for the second episode in a row, we face the league leaders, this time at home at the Torquay Stadium, and it's Manchester United visiting us. Unfortunately, as we come towards December now, our slide down the table is really gathering momentum. We're struggling for goals, even though we've got a decent defensive record. Our goal difference is hanging up quite nicely, and that could be very important come the end of the season. It seemed like a distant memory beating Blackburn on the first day of the season. They're up in 9th place now in the league, so they've certainly recovered and we're starting to struggle, and I think we could be in for a long January. So after this episode, we want to get through the Christmas period. We'll come back during the January window. I've got a couple of signings lined up that we're trying to get over the line, just to get them in as early as possible and try and support our team moving forward. We've got a couple of areas where we're particularly weak, and we're struggling with Championship standard players, and I think those are the gaps we've got to plug in January if we want to stay in the Premier League. We've lost 5 games on the bounce, but we'll show you the games since the last episode in full. We obviously lost to Manchester City 1-0 last time you were with me. We put up a spirited effort but didn't get the win, and you'll notice the theme as we move along. So all of the 5 games we've lost in our last 5, we've only lost all of them by 1 goal, either 1-0 or 2-1. We've really put up a fight against some good sides, but we just don't look like scoring enough, as Lee Rutherford's goals have really dried up since the first day of the season. He's only added 2 more to the tally since that brace. But after the Man City game, we did lose 2 more in a row. Leicester 2-1 at home. Nico Williams got us a goal to put us ahead, but we threw it away within 10 minutes of that. We got battered by Watford in the Carabao Cup, but we would expect as much with the team we put out. Johnny Kelly got a brace, which was the one highlight of the game, but we certainly deserved to lose. And then we lost another league game against West Brom this time, 3-1 away from home. We still hadn't got an away point at this stage, although as you can see that was rectified in the following one. Kozul got a goal for us off the left wing. He's remarkably, from a left attacking wing position, got 3 own goals for us this season, and that's a record we really don't want to continue if we want to keep our chances of staying up alive. However, the reason we're still in mid-table is all down to these back-to-back wins after that. 1-0 at home to Fulham. Billy Lee Meaney came on for Lee Rutherford and he got a late winner in that one. He was a real hero there. And then away to Burnley we had a similar outcome. This time it was Adam Lewis, one of our Championship heroes, and Daniel Kozul getting a brace as well. However, since then we've had a really tough run of games. We lost 2-1 at home to Liverpool. Daniel Kozul got a late consolation after getting an own goal himself at the other end. Unfortunately, as a result, we didn't get any points. Bergamini picked up an injury in that one too. And then away to Everton, the Merseyside rivals, we lost by the odd goal again. Daniel Kozul with yet another own goal. Alex Iwobi, a former hero in our other series, he got the winner in that one. Lee Rutherford did get a goal to end his goal drought, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to get us back into the game. Into November we started with another tricky game. We lost 1-0 at home to Tottenham, and their goal scorer who won the game, a young English winger named Harley Charlton, and he's starting to look a bit like Bobby Charlton and Jack Charlton here. Look at the quality that lad's got. If we can ever manage him one day, we'll certainly be doing something right here. A brilliant player, and I think he's going to go a long way and possibly even win a Ballon d'Or or 2. We then had a friendly during the international break, as unlike most sides we only actually have 4 or 5 players go. We then lost away to Southampton as the break finished. Pinto and Mount both scoring screamers. It's been a theme this season where we've not been pressing too high. Teams have just been scoring from 30 or 40 yards and we can't really do anything about it. Daniel Kozul didn't get an own goal in this one, but he did pick up a knock. Adam Lewis came on for him and got a goal back though. It was all in vain in the end. We then played away to Bournemouth, who were 5th in the league. They got an early goal, but again we defended astutely, but we just weren't able to create anything, and as a result we went down 1-0. So we've really got to try and get a better right winger in January, a more attacking version of Nico Williams, just so we can go to a more traditional 4-3-3 and really have the 2 wingers supporting the striker. It's something Rutherford's had in the past, whether it be a number 10 or 2 attacking midfielders, and we need to recreate that if we're to stay up this season. We're playing at home to United now though, just 4 days later on. They've got a few players out or unregistered. The fact they can't even find a space for Jadon Sancho in their squad shows just how good a side they are, and we're really really going to struggle to get anything out of today's game against the heavy favourites who are visiting us. We're down in 13th place at the moment. There's still quite a nice gap to the relegation zone, thanks to how poor the three sides down there have been. There's a 7-point gap for now though, but don't forget we got 10 of our 16 points in the first 5 games, which means we've just got those 2 wins in the last 10. 8 defeats and it's a really poor run. We've got a Premier League side in the FA Cup third round as well, so we've not even got a confidence booster there, and I really think we're going to be relying on signings with our precious little amount of budget remaining if we want to try and keep ourselves away from trouble. It's a sellout as you would expect. United are actually in poor form in all competitions. I don't know if they're just doing poorly in the Champions League or maybe they lost the Carabao Cup tie. We're not going to worry about that though, as I'm sure it's not going to harm them today. We have lost 5 on the bounce ourselves though, so it is going to be an uphill task. We've got a pretty familiar lineup out, but that's only because we don't have too many other options. One big miss today is at centre half. Leclerc's just back from injury and he's not quite fit, although Stevie Maxwell does return. He missed the last game at Bournemouth. So Maxwell's in goal. We've got Cisse and Lonergan-Irwin at fullback, Beja and Taylor in the middle. Taylor's in because of Leclerc's injury. Hopefully Leclerc will be back at the weekend. Foster's in the holding role, Nico Williams on the right, Vinicius Coelho in central midfield, and then Allingham and Cosell, the two-man creative force behind Lee Rutherford up front. He's not got many goals this year, but we'll keep our faith in him. Hopefully he'll be able to create some chances today and put 1 or 2 of them away. We mentioned at the start of the season that we were looking to try and play a more defensive formation against the big teams, but it hasn't worked so far. We've not looked like creating chances and it hasn't changed the scoreline, so we're just going to go into this game with a positive mentality and hope we don't get absolutely battered. Depending on how long the game is, we will have a little look at dynamics afterwards, because they're not too great at the moment, as you'd expect with 8 defeats in 10, but let's get into this one first and see if we can spring a surprise against United. It's a 4-2-3-1 for United, a fairly attacking formation. Look at some of the real players they've got in there. Chilwell and Dalot are the fullbacks, Diogo Jota from Wolves in real life, and Asensio behind Rashford. Loads of high quality regens as well. They're going to be formidable opposition today. We're going to tell the lads the pressure's off. That's what Stuart Jelling keeps suggesting. It doesn't seem to be producing results, but we're going to get the lads to go out and give it their all and just let them attack as they naturally would. We're resting Bergamini as he's just back from injury. We don't want to get him into the lineup too quickly. He's had 4 or 5 months out with a muscular injury, and that's just not a risk worth taking. It's Man United coming forward on the halfway early on. It's Cooper running down the left. He gets it inside to Jota. We've really got to try and hold our shape. Being positive may cost us our first heavy defeat of the season, but it's better than just losing every game 1-0. Felipe's coming forward to Jota. He goes for the shot from 20 yards, but it's just over the bar and we comfortably survive. 2 minutes gone, it's 0-0. Asensio's had to go off with an injury for United. I was about to celebrate that, but Dybala's come on for him, so it's not much of a downgrade. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be under the cosh today. Felipe's coming forward again. He finds Dybala, now Juninho. Hacked away as far as it can go, but he's just out for a throw to United, and I'm sure the pressure will come back on us soon. Well, despite having extensive highlights on, we've had no other action on camera in the first half. We've gone straight through to the half-time whistle, and I couldn't ask for much more really. A 0-0 draw would be an unbelievable result, particularly as we don't look like scoring. I guess the problem becomes, though, if we do concede a goal, that's probably going to cost us the game. We haven't looked like getting one ourselves. Sheffield United are in the relegation zone, and they're 2-0 up away at Leicester, so it looks like it's going to be a tough evening for us if we don't get a point on the board. United have had the only shots on target, but none of them have really threatened too much, so we're going to tell the lads we appreciate their efforts and get back into the second half. Though so many times we've been like this, almost like an FA Cup tie, and then after an hour or 70 minutes, we've just got worn down or tired. Rutherford hoofs the ball out for a throw, and the highlight ends 15 seconds into the half. United with another injury. It's Cooper coming off this time. He's been replaced by Lewis Cook as Allingham wins the ball back on halfway. We've got a 3-on-2 briefly. Vinicius puts it to Rutherford. It's blocked to Nico Williams. He's been challenged in the box and he's out for a corner kick. You can just see where we're a bit slow in the decision making process there. We're not thinking quickly and clearly in attacking areas. Although Beja from the corner with a brilliant looping header from the back post forces a good save from the United keeper. Cosell's going to deliver. Beja's up again and forces another save away from Villa, who does well to hold it, and it remains goalless, but we finally threaten the United goal. Here's Dalot at the other end though. Here's the time we mentioned, an hour in now. Are we going to start crumbling at the back? Allingham loses out in the middle to Felipe. Probably should have been favourite to get to that ball, but didn't have enough heart to win the challenge. Jota's shot's been blocked by the right back Cisse, who's having a really improved game today. He's not had the best season so far, but he's just a young lad, and he seems to be doing well in this one. Nico Williams to Allingham in the middle. Vinicius gets it back to Allingham again, and Foster's keeping the ball in a triangle. It's switched out to Irwin at left back. He goes inside to Bedger. It looks like we're quite composed in possession here, although we've just hit it up to Rutherford aimlessly. He's lost out in the air, and I think we may be vulnerable to the counter-attack here. Jota coming down the left-hand side. He's just running at the defence, and in the end he goes back to Chilwell as United have thrown men forward. Purby on halfway. We've gone from dominating possession to this in the space of 30 seconds. Dalot delivers to Rashford, and now we're behind 1-0. It's the pattern of so many games this year. We lose it by the odd goal, and it's always one late in the second half as we just run out of steam with 2/3 gone, and unfortunately we've got just a quarter to save this. Here's Bedger at centre half. He gets the ball out to Kozul. Can we create just one brilliant chance? Just to nick a point would be amazing. Nico Williams into the box. He finds Kozul, but the header's poor and straight into the arms of Villa as we're finally creating more chances, but looking a bit vulnerable at the back. Coelho finds Lonergan Irwin. He gets the ball down to Kozul. Irwin again at left back. One of the most improved players during the season. We said at the start we lined him up for a placement in January, but the player we lined up to try and sign is now not actually rated better than him. We've created another chance with a cross into the box, but Nico Williams heads it into the keeper. Rutherford again's having a poor game, so it may be time for Lee Meaney to come on, although Rashford's on the counter here, and if he gets a second it'll be game over. We don't often score one goal, so to get two against a big side would be unheard of, and we finally got a warning to close Rashford down as we're overplaying a bit at the back. It's a long clearance as far as Dalot. Cook gets the ball down for Juninho. Now Felipe. No pressure at all as we wouldn't expect with his tactic, and Jota gets a free shot from the edge, but Maxwell holds it well down to his left. Just over 15 minutes to go, we're going to make some subs and just try and throw the kitchen sink at United. We've got Lee Meaney coming on for Rutherford, who's had another poor game. We really don't know what we're going to do about him. We're going to change one of the midfielders as well. Ben Foster in the anchorman role seems to be struggling quite a lot. So we're going to bring on Rowan McDonald as a defensive midfielder, just to give him a bit more licence in midfield. And then we've got an option to take off Nico Williams, but we don't really have any adequate replacements. So I think what we are going to do actually is bring on Bobby Duncan for him. We're going to put Lee Meaney out to the right hand side, and then in a minute we'll go and throw him into attacking midfield. So let's just wait for the changes to be made. They have now been done. So let's throw Lee Meaney up in the same area as Kozul. He wants to be a winger on attack, and then we'll swap the other two midfielders round. Vinicius goes to a deep lying player on the right hand side, and Allingham can go towards the left. Let's get back into the game and hope they don't score a second before the change is made, and then if we get to 5 minutes from the end, we'll just go very attacking and see if we can nick one. A draw would be an incredible result, but the relegation zone is getting a lot closer. It will be just a 4-point gap if we lose this one. Lee Meaney's put the ball in from a free kick. It's a foul on the keeper though. I think it was Vinicius. Awful decision by the referee. It didn't look like there was anything in it, and Vinicius is now getting a yellow card as we saw him clapping the referee after the decision was made. Hopefully that will be an end of match interview. Are we annoyed at the controversial decision? Vinicius has been booked though, so he's got to be careful now as he's one of our standout performers most weeks. It's Cook in the middle for United. A second would probably kill the game off now. Dalot gets the ball into Juninho. Now Dybala, the early substitute. He's on a yellow too, goes for the shot, and it's too hot for Maxwell to handle. He has to tip it wide for a corner. We're just going to see out this one, and once we clear the set piece, we'll go to very attacking and just try and throw everything at them. Juninho's got the ball at the back post as the corner was overrun, and apparently we've tripped him there, and Dybala crosses the ball. Juninho's put it in on a half volley from the penalty spot. It's game over. Again, we've put up a good fight, but it's not been enough against Manchester United. We're going to ask the lads to show some passion, but I just don't know where we go from here. We seem to be on one of those slides that just can't be recovered, and with 6 defeats in a row now, it's going to be hard to get back to winning ways. We always knew this spell was going to be difficult, playing 5 or 6 sides in a row that finished in the top half last year. We've not had much of the possession in this one, and with just 30 seconds to go, for the first time we're going to lose by more than one goal, and it's going to be a 2-0 defeat. It's a long aimless ball forward towards Purby, the United centre half, and he brings it forward to Dalot. shallow. We are definitely going to have to do some work in the January window if we really want to succeed this year. Finishing 17th would be an amazing success, but I don't rate our chances for that based on these performances. Not a bad one overall, but we certainly never looked like getting anything out of the game. United were just too strong for us, and as soon as the opposition score, we don't look like we've got anything in the tank. I really don't know how to fix the problem with Rutherford other than putting two men up front, and if we do that, our defensive solidity will completely go and we'll just start leaking goals for fun. So I think this is probably the best attempt we've got to stay up, but we've got to nick one or two wins soon or we're going to get dragged back towards the bottom three. The lads are delighted, we keep telling them it's a good effort, and what else can I say? We're playing teams that are a far bigger stature than us, on massive budgets in comparison, and we're competing relatively well over 90 minutes, just not looking like scoring. I can hardly criticise them for what they're doing, but we're going to need some reinforcements to compete in the second half of the year. So we stay in 13th place, but we're only 4 points off the bottom three now. Sheffield United have moved out of there. West Ham got a victory as well, 4-1 at home to Arsenal, who are struggling this season, just as they were in our other series in recent years. Watford and Fulham are right down there at the bottom. Both of them have lost in this midweek period, but it looks like it's going to get a little bit hairy soon if we don't get out of danger very quickly. We've got a period of games coming up which is going to be difficult. Villa away and Newcastle at home, followed by Chelsea and Blackburn away, and then we've got two massive games in a row, Watford on Boxing Day and Sheffield United the first game in January. We'll completely rest the first 11 for the FA Cup game in between, and then we're back to play Arsenal at home on the 10th of January. That's probably one we'll show on camera. They're also down in the bottom half at the moment, so it could be an important game if they continue to have a poor season and have poor morale themselves. Let's look at what the media have said about the game. United eased to victory. We're unwilling to experiment because we're still competing quite well, but we've just got to get one or two better players in, particularly in attacking areas. Allegri's getting arrogant about beating us 2-0. I'm not quite sure why. They're top of the league, and with the budget he's got, he should be embarrassed it was only 2. But as we said before, we are going to be back for the Arsenal game. Let's quickly have a look at the dynamics. The dressing room atmosphere is still alright, to be honest. It's the team cohesion that's not as good as normal. That's always been up in excellent in recent years, but because we've had such a turnaround this summer, we've got to wait a few months for them to settle in. Similarly, as you can see in the dressing room atmosphere, as well as being in poor form recently and having the one unhappy player, we've got players who haven't formed relationships with each other, and we've got contrasting personalities too. That's something that 2 or 3 years can solve, but we haven't got 2 or 3 years to save our Premier League status. So if we go back to the inbox, we've got a fitness concern as well. I'm not sure how long the gap is before our next game. 5 days, so it shouldn't be too bad, but we can't send him on holiday for a week as this Villa game's going to be crucial. So we will be back on the 10th of January for the Arsenal game. I'm hoping 1 or 2 of the signings we're trying to make now will go through by that point, and then hopefully we'll have some interesting news and some new stars who can lead us to safety. Once we've shown the Arsenal game, we'll pick out a couple of episodes in the second half of the year where we're going to be playing in games that are really crucial to us. So if we're playing relegation 6-pointers, or if we're in mid-table and we're trying to secure our survival. The last game against Chelsea will be on camera, of course, too. And if we do happen to go on a cup run, we'll show some from that. But I don't think we will. We're going to rest everyone for it, and our championship side will find it hard to compete against these teams as they're far superior to us. But if you did enjoy that episode and the performance against United, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you think we can do in front of goal to try and change our fortunes. And obviously your suggestions may be too up front, but we've got to find solutions that won't harm our defence as well. Every time we played with a back three or even a 4-4-2, we've always shipped goals for fun, and that's at a far lower level than this. Do any of you have any suggestions for Rutherford? We're still playing him in his preferred role. He's playing in the same formation he was in the Championship, where he was scoring 36 goals, and he got 2 on the first day of the season as well. I don't know if it's just a confidence thing. We keep talking to him and telling him he's a great player, that we have faith in him to start scoring goals, and every time he does get one we go and praise him too, just to try and keep his morale high. Other than that, I don't know what we can do. We're working on his finishing in training as well, but nothing seems to be working at this stage. We're on a slide down the table, we're plummeting quickly, and we really need some help to get out of trouble. Fingers crossed that'll come in the form of January signings, and hopefully you'll come and join me in the next episode to see them. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories. This one with Torquay United, and our Journeyman series, The Head Coach. We're coming to the end of season 10 in that one. There's loads of crucial episodes coming up at the end of the year, as we're competing on various fronts in that one, so do go and check it out if you haven't already. There's also weekly content from my Snooker 19 career, every Friday at 4:30, and then from the end of this month is the turn of Cricket 19, the official game of the Ashes. We'll have loads of content from that at the end of May and start of June, and then weekly content from that point onwards. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with this series as always. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time for another big episode as we hopefully introduce some January signings.